Alright, we're going for a more serious list this time. No jokes, no funnies. This is about units, completely objective, no margin for error. Okay, there it is. That's the list. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time. And let's take this seriously. Okay, starting with Erica. Big problem, sword locked. Swords are, other than bows, the worst weapon to be locked to because they lack a reliable 1 to 2 range. The light brand and rune sword are not common weapons, so they can't counterattack all the time as opposed to hand axes and javelins for the other weapon types. It's not as bad in Sacred Stones as it was in the last game 7, because in 7 there were lances everywhere that swords were always at a disadvantage. In Sacred Stones, swords are neutral a lot more of the time because the monsters that are the late game enemies use like claws and other things that you're always neutral against. So Erica does have that blessing there. Stat line, she's kind of like a Merm with a horse, which is not terrible. She's fast, not too bulky or strong. However, the Sieglinde, her signature weapon, really good strength boost, which helps patch up a stat that she desperately needs. And so she's not as bad as she would be if she were in 7 or 6. If she was in 7 or 6, she'd be below average. But I think in Sacred Stones, I think calling her average isn't terrible. Poor weapon to be locked to, but the addition of a horse and a really powerful signature weapon, I think, salvage her just barely. Seth, I don't. What do I need to say about this guy? He is genuinely not just the best unit in this game, he's talked about as the best unit in the series in general. I wouldn't go that far. Sigurd exists. It can't quite touch Mr. I'm going to conquer the entire continent and call it character. Love Sigurd. Don't take that seriously. Seth has everything you need. He's of the best class in the game. He has incredible base stats, incredible growths. Did you know his HP growth was buffed from the Japanese version for some reason? I don't know why, but they thought to do that. They didn't touch any of his other stats. He's as strong there as he is here. It's just his HP for some reason. If there's anything Seth has as a weakness, his base HP is pretty low for a promoted unit. I think it's only 30. But considering he has a 90% growth in it and nothing's really touching him at the start anyway, that hardly even matters. Double A weapon ranks, he's just the complete package. He is talked about like he is for a reason. Franz is of a similar boat. I'm also going to put Franz at the absolute top. He takes a bit to get going. Like, you know what? Hang on, I gotta do something here. Add row above. Like, Franz is good, but Seth is so good that like you have to put him a tier above. Like, Franz is genuinely an S tier unit, but I cannot say he's on the same level of Seth. Back to Franz. His bases are pretty good. He struggles to double a little bit early on, but once he gets like a single point of speed, which his growths, he'll get that very early. And then he can start one rounding things very early. As early as like chapter 3 or 4, he'll be one rounding everything and just taking off to the races from there. Go Paladin. Great Knight is not a good promotion for Cavaliers. And in time, he'll be just as strong as Seth is. Which is really cool, I think. You know, he admires Seth, he becomes as good as Seth. It's cute, and also incredibly devastating to everyone around him. Gilliam, I absolutely love you. You're a good armor knight. The problem is, armor knights aren't good. Gilliam's job is to tank. He does that. He gets very good defense, health, and skill, I believe. I can't quite remember skill. The problem being is he is an armor knight. He is actually better in this game than he would be in others, much like Erica, because Sacred Stones have the Great Knight class, which is essentially general but better. You get infantry movement, but he still gets like the general motif of big hulking dude. And that's really good for him. The problem is getting there. He can't do too much early on because he's against a fuck ton of axes, because, you know, it's Fire Emblem, we need our Axe Brigade country. So he's not gonna do too much when he first joins. He's not gonna hit the blind side of a fucking barn. However, as the game goes on, he's if you use him, he'll be an armor knight. Like, he can tank, he can hit. It's just, he's way too fucking slow, and his movement, even if it's better than in most games, is a little rough early on. Also, the problem is his promotion item. I can't justify using a Knight's Crest on Gilliam over Franz or Kyle. So he's kind of shit out of luck in that department. Maybe if he used a different promotion item, but even then, he's just not good enough. But an early Lance user that is good enough is Vanessa. Along with Franz, I'd say she's the only unit I'd say that's worth S tier. She starts again. She'll become a Seth, rampaging through the battlefield of a different class, but fast sword lance ranks. I think Wyvern Knight is technically better because of the stats it gives. I like the sword utility more, but Pierce is powerful. It activates off of level as a percent, I believe, so Vanessa's good there. The only problem is, much like Gilliam, she starts at a weapon triangle disadvantage against all the axes. But unlike Gilliam, once she gets through that, she gets better and better as the game goes on. So, a little bit of a hiccup, but she'll quickly rampage the battlefield very easily. Also, the Elysian Whip. Her only competition for that is Tana, since Cormag comes with his. And while Tana's, I'll talk about, is good, Vanessa can very easily take the first one you find. She's very good. Mulder the Boulder, 9-con man meme himself. He's a healer, so he's automatically above average. His stat line is good, but he's a healer. The 9-con is a meme, but you really won't be using the heavier tomes with him because he doesn't use dark magic. But, I mean, he's your early game healer. That guarantees him he's going to be really useful. I might put him in A. No, I think A and B. He becomes a very good combat unit upon promotion because everything's undead and bishops get the ability to fuck over the undead, which is really powerful. He gets good skill for whatever reason when he's using light magic, so he's not missing anything. He's surprisingly fast, 9 base speed and a 40% growth in it. Mulder does his job very well. You know what? I think I will put him in A. He's a very solid early game healer. Like, in comparison to the likes of Ellen and Sarah, I think Mulder's the best of the starting healers in the GBA trilogy. Also because Sacred Stones kind of gears Bishop to be better than it was in the other games. Ross, Trainee Man. He's better than the other two? He's usable. The problem is his stats aren't the best. People like to make him go berserker. I actually think he'd be better off as a hero because he gets the +2 speed on promotion. Because that's Ross's problem. He'll get healthy, he'll get strong, he won't be very fast. But it's just not worth using him, I don't think. Like, axes aren't as in high demand in Sacred Stones as they are in the other ones. And his dad comes with him and is just stronger out the gate. Use him if you want. I think in terms of hardcore LTC, being a pirate with Ross saves you like one fucking turn on chapter 7. I don't know how that works. Look that up if you're curious, but he's not good. He's not very good. Garcia's tough for me to place because he only has one bad stat. The problem is that one bad stat is arguably the most important stat he could have, and that's speed. His strength base is good and grows well. His speed base is good and grows well. His defense, all that, like his stats are good, except speed. His speed starts out pretty good. I think it's like 9 base speed as a level 4 fighter. He has an abysmal growth in it, and that does catch up to him pretty quickly. If you get lucky and get 1 or 2 speed increases, and then you make him a hero, which gives a +2 speed increase, he'll actually be pretty fucking good. Garm also gives him a speed increase, as that's the stat it boosts when you use it. So Garcia is certainly capable of being very good. It's just, by God, his speed is just that Achilles heel that holds down what would otherwise be the undisputed best fighter in the GBA games. Unfortunately, Geets and FE6 Bartray edge him out a little bit because, goddamn, his speed does not increase much from its base. Love his beard. If this were the last tier list, he'd be like S, but sorry, Garcia, your beard can't save you here. Nemi! Pretty bad. Bow-locked, which is for the start, which is terrible. Her stats are good, and the ability to promote into Ranger does help her, but she comes in as a level 1 archer like 5 chapters into the game, or three, I'll give her some credit, but you have to baby her for a while. Like, not just a little bit, but a while. She does have the benefit of being no competition for the Orion's Bolt, but just sell it. Like, the Ranger's a neat class. It gives her sword utility. It's a Nomad Trooper. But it's hard to justify raising her in those early levels. She turns out great if you're someone that's not going for hardcore objective opinions. Like, the fuck did I just say? Objective opinions? The fuck? Anyways, she's not... she's really good if you stop to level her, but in a list like this, if I have to say if you stop to level them, you're doing not too good. Calm. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea how to rate utility units in guides like these. Because Calm is very essential, but he doesn't combat. He steals and picks chests and things. So does his abysmal combat mean I should rate him low, or does his incredible utility mean I should rate him high? So I'm going to put him in average. He's a thief. He will do what thieves do and not much else. You could promote him to assassin, but his skill just isn't good enough for that. And rogue for maximum utility, I guess, but you get Rennick, who can do the same thing, but arguably worse. He's a utility unit. You use him to sneak around, steal things, you ship him with Nemi, and you call it a day. Ardor, really good. Monks are a bit better off here than Lucius. As I'd say they were in 7, but it was just Lucius in 7. Because Bishop is stronger in this one. Ardor can go Sage. No, Bishop's better for him. He gets an instant C in Staves, which is better than the instant C in Anima. Good bases. He can deal with things very easily by himself early on. His growths are good. Yeah, good at the start, good at the end. He's just a good magic dealer. He's frail, but he's a fucking magic user. Which one of them aren't frail? Loot, the meme lady herself. She's not... Her stats are good for a level 1 mage. The problem is that she starts to get into a fight for that gilding ring. Because you're going to want to use it for one of your healers. And then you're probably going to want to use the next one on Ardor. And then by the time you would get a third, you have Saleh, and you can't justify using her over him. Her magic damage early on is good, but her defenses are abysmal. Again, mage though, so that's not entirely unexpected. Her class is much... She can become a mage knight, so actually her classes aren't terrible. The problem is just promoting loot. By the time you would conceivably do that, you're not going to want to anymore. I guess if Ardor just gets absolutely RNG fucked, loot's a very good magic dealer damager. Try figuring out what the hell I just said there. But I don't even know if she should be C or B. I want to say B because she can help early. She's just not able to promote very well. Natasha is Mulder but comes in worse. She gets access to Valkyrie, which a mount over Bishop. I don't know if that's necessarily better. The problem is, why would you use her when you've had Mulder? She makes a good substitute for Mulder if he dies and you're Iron Manning. But if you're already using Mulder, Natasha's just there if you need another healer, and Arter isn't promoted yet. That's it. Nothing real complex to say. Joshua also squeaks in on the average camp. Much like Gilliam, he's a good merm. The problem is merms aren't too good. I came prepared for that constant cough this time. Sword locked, much of the same issues of Erica, except Joshua doesn't get a mount. Which actually, well, yeah, I'm actually going to put him in D. He doesn't get a mount or a signature weapon that helps him. I think the Odhumla just gives like skill or something that he doesn't need. Assassin can be fun for memes, and I think Joshua does have the skill to pull it off. But being sword locked and infantry locked is never a good sign in almost any Fire Emblem. Except maybe 4, but even then, like, it's just sword masters are almost never good. And that's the problem with Joshua. He's like Gilliam. He's good for the class he's in. He's not in a good class. Ephraim has a very, very interesting thing about him. He is the only lord in the franchise who suffers from an availability problem. Because if you go Erica route, you get him 1 in 5X, once in 8, and they don't see him again until chapter 15, over halfway through the game. And that's a problem. But I cannot deny Ephraim is really fucking powerful when he's there. Good bases, good class, good stats, gets a mount, good signature weapon. Ephraim is really powerful. I wish this tier list had like 2 Ephraims and 2 Ericas, because I would actually move Erica down to D for Ephraim's route and Ephraim at A and B. So I'll put him in the middle and put him at B. His availability problems will hurt him overall, but when he's there, when he's there, he's a monster. It's just getting him there. Ford, you are like one of my favorite characters in this game. You're the worst Cavalier in the GBA games, but I cannot justify putting you below C. He's a Cavalier. That's useful. The problem is he doesn't do what he wants to do well. He's supposed to be the fast one, and he is faster than Kyle. Marginally. The problem is he's not fast enough. Kyle can still double things well enough on his own, and Kyle also will have better stats elsewhere. So, and again, Knight's Crest competition. Like, Franz gets the first one, and it's between him and Kyle for the second. And you're going to pick Kyle. I guess if Kyle gets RNG screwed, Ford's a fine substitute, but beyond that, you're going to go with Mosshair Man. Kyle, he's the strong one of the 2 Cavaliers, but he's still fast enough while also being strong. He's just good. Enemies in this game aren't fast enough to double him for his slightly lower speed. His speed isn't even bad. Except maybe the Mayuth dogs and the... how the fuck you pronounce the Cerberus looking fuckers. He's good. Cavalier, Paladin, I sound like a broken record. You know why they're good by now. Orson. I guess he's technically, like... he's good for the 1 chapter he's in. Go over there. I'm not going to even put you on here. Tana. Tana's good. The problem is Vanessa is going to take the first Elysian Whip, and she's fine for the second one if you pick Erica's route, because by the time Cormac joins, your Tana could justifiably have gotten much stronger and can use the Elysian Whip more than him. The problem is on Ephraim's route, there is no reason to pick her over Cormac. He comes in better, well equipped first of all, with his Elysian Whip in tow. So, much like Erica and Ephraim, she's kind of route dependent. I'm going to put her at B because she's good. It's just she's outclassed. Amelia's garbage. Like, I love using Amelia. I use Amelia a lot. She's garbage. Um, she can become a paladin, but then she has to also use a knight's crest. She has to fucking get there, first of all, through trainee and then cavalier. All for a slightly worse Seth. Like, once you get Amelia to the pink paladin, like, she's strong. It's just there's no justifiable way to get her there, which is a problem. She's not good enough to warrant getting there. And as I'm going to put him in D because he's the exact same thing as Gilliam, Nemi, and Joshua. He's good for his class. His class is garbage. He gets it a little bit better off because he's a pre-promote. He can actually one-round tougher enemies with his silver bow at base, which is marginally useful. And again, just like the other three, he grows well. Like Endgame Inez is a capable sniper. It's just, haha, sniper. Bows suck. Stop being a bow unit. You're thinking about archery? Quit now. Garbage. Go play Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games if you want archery. Don't come here. Garrick's a beast. Comes with his promotion item like Cormag does. Really good bases. You can even level him up once or twice as a mercenary because his growths are good too, or you can just promote him to hero immediately. I think hero's better for them because axes are a better weapon than bows, but I think the mount might make him a better ranger. I've always gone hero because fucking look at those muscles. Does he look like he's going to be a pansy-ass bow user? He's a hero. Put him as one. Good bases, good growths. He does get screwed on the route split because of availability. He shows up really late for a frame. But on Erica, he's god tier. Actual god tier is Tethys. Jesus Christ. Super powerful, like powerful, good lord. She dances. She is a free usage on Seth, or Franz, or Vanessa, or anyone else again. I don't think it's possible for a dancer refresher unit in Fire Emblem to be rated less than S. Like, I genuinely can't think of one other than maybe Leanne in Radiant Dawn, but even then, probably not. Like, if you refresh your S tier, simple as that. And if you're Marissa, you're garbage. She's like Joshua, she can make a good swordsmaster. Her high skill makes her a very good assassin, actually. But she's all the problems Erica and Joshua have with significantly worse availability. Like, I can't justify using Marissa under any circumstance. She's bad, frail, sword locked, she just sucks. Larshell. I do not know who decided to make the Est unit in this game the class that's impossible to train up quickly, but by God they did it. Her growths, I believe, are the best in the game. She's a very capable Mage Knight or Valkyrie. She's a level 3 Troubadour. Like, you can't raise that quickly, and it's halfway through the game when you get her. Her staff utility's fine, but by that point you've had Natasha for a while if you really needed a second staff user. Ardor should have been promoted, and if not, you should have Saleh if you're doing Erica route the next chapter, and his staff utility's better. I guess on a frames route you don't get Saleh for a while, but like she comes in too late. If she joined you in chapter 4 when she, Dulza, and Rennick are about to run down a hill to kill themselves, she'd be good. Really good, actually. But she just comes in too late for her incredible growths to matter. Dulza's decent. Axe locked is significantly better than sword or bow locked. His bases aren't terrible. He doesn't grow very well. Like, it's a little hard to use Dozla in the late game, but he has incredibly high HP. So he can tank a few hits. And Berserker's a pretty decent class. So he's decent. He's not good, he's not bad, he's decent. He's decent. You can use Dozla. I don't know if I'd put Solaire A or S. I think A simply because his availability. His weapon rank's high tier, his class high tier. Well, not really high tier. Good. His stats, good. He doesn't really need to grow. He's like Pent. He could not increase another point in any stat and he'd be good. I think his growths are actually better than Pent's though, for to his credit. He's Magic Man, he shoots magic, he uses staff. He's good. Not quite as good as Pent, but close. And we all know how good Pent is. Ewan's the worst unit in the game. No question. Terrible join times on both routes. Poor choice in classes. He's just pretty bad. Not pretty bad, really bad. I think Ewan is actually the worst unit in the entire GBA trilogy. That's saying a lot, but he is fucking garbage. I love using him, but you cannot justifiably use him over other characters. He's not going to be as good of a damage user, staff bot, or anything as any other magic user you could pick. I love the little shit, but he is a little shit. Cormag's pretty fucking good, though. In a frame route, he's godly. In Erica route, he comes in really late. In fact, most people miss him in Erica's route because of how late he comes in. But good class, good stats, good promotion, comes in with his promotion item. He's just really, really good. Lance locked if you choose to go Wyvern Knight's not terrible. Good bulk. Fun fact, he was actually nerfed in the American release because in Erica's route, he comes in with stats to match the fact that he wasn't there for longer than a frames route. But in the American release, Cormac's stats are the same in both routes, which does hurt him a little bit. But still, strong flyer. He's amazing. He's really good. Rennick's a utility unit, but his utility is less important than Culm's because by the time you get him, he's a utility unit, and you already have one. I guess he makes a decent substitute if Culm dies, but once you get him, there are 2 more chapters with shit to steal that matter. So, I don't... Rogue was an interesting class too, but there's no real point to it. I can't think of anything he has to steal, and you can just use an assassin with a lockpick or buy a door key. His use is 50 gold. That's it. Nothing special at all. Dussel, fucking amazing. Triple A ranks to start, so big good. Great Knight's not a terrible class if you're not trying to promote to it from Cavalier. It's infantry movement, but it's bulky. You're essentially a general that you get the penalties where mounted units can't move very well, but you aren't stuck with 5 move. I think that's worth it. He has poor speed, but Garm, like I mentioned with Garcia, patches that up very well and comes in with the silver axe and an A rank in axes. I'm not saying anything, but you might want to cut some fucking heads off with axes. And he very, very well can become a powerful unit in your army. He's actually only mediocre on Erica's route due to his terrible join time. But again, his base stats are too good. I wouldn't say he's mediocre. I'd say he'd move down to more B tier on Erica's route. He's really good. He is really good, though. Definitely a great unit, great stats, great classes. And fun fact, if I remember correctly, if you are doing a growthless run, Dussel is the only character in the game that can survive a round of combat with the Demon King at base. I think, don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Noel. I am going to surprise a lot of people by putting him at B. And I will defend myself because when he joins, he is always right below a house that has the Earth Seal. Use that on him, make him a summoner, put him on staff bot duty, and have him summon. Summons are incredibly good utility, great bait, and their usefulness, I think, is grossly underestimated. You can use those summons to bait out some cheeky bullshit. And the fact that he can do that essentially when he joins, because on a frames route, you're just going to go to the next chapter and you're there. And on Erica's route, he literally can walk up to their house his first turn of action. I think he becomes very good with that. I don't know if he has enough time to use a staff to exactly get up to warping abilities, or if his stats are even good enough for that. But I think Phantom Utility genuinely is highly underrated. Without a doubt, I think he's very, very good. Myrrh is a god for 50 attacks, but she only has 50 attacks. But those 50 attacks are pretty fucking good. She can one round a lot of the powerful monsters late game because of the Slayer effect on her Dragonstone. Her availability's bad, but while she's there, I think she contributes enough to warrant being called slightly above average. Not like incredibly above average, mind. I think she's on the low end of B tier. But overall, I think she's phenomenal. Not phenomenal. What the fuck did I just say? I think she's alright. She's phenomenal. I need to learn word choice and diction better. Should have paid attention in English class rather than slept. Serene. Good class, good growths. Really late, and her bases aren't the best. Like, if she joined 2 chapters sooner, she'd be great. But I can't call a Falcon Knight with decent stats anything less than average. At all. So, average. She can kill the eggs in the Gorgon chapter to get XP quickly, but that's better spent on stronger units. But she opens up the triangle attack, which Pierce triangle attack does work. Like, if whoever you're using for the triangle attack crits, activates Pierce with the guaranteed crit, it does go through. Like, you can kill the Demon King with a fucking Sling Lance. I think I saw a video of that once. So she's definitely good. Just poor availability damns her. So yeah, let's just look over this one more time. Someone's going to yell at me for this. I'm going to yell at myself for this, probably. See, I think a frame should be A, but he's like, I'll put him in A. Any other last-second adjustments? Do I think loot should be moved down to merely average? Well, let me think. Would I call loot as good as Kyle, Tana, Noel, or Myrrh? No, I would not. I would not. And I think I will put Serene up a tier just because of no, I wouldn't. I'm going to argue and nitpick myself at this for hours if I don't end the video now. Hang on, there's one more thing I need to do. There we go. Alright, now the tier list is complete. Thank you all very much for watching. I am blazing through Vestaria Saga so we can get back to the regularly scheduled Let's Plays. I am on Chapter 3, so I'm getting there. I'm getting there. The game goes by quite quickly when you skip all text and hold the fast forward button. So hopefully tomorrow or Monday we can be back on track and I can make more content other than tier list videos. But if you want to see more tier list videos, do let me know. I enjoy making them. I just don't know how many people are really going to stick around to watch me put things in a list and talk about my opinions. But if you want to see it, do let me know. I will listen to you if you ask. I will see you all tomorrow. Stay beautiful.